What's up, everybody? It's Jordan.
And it's Chrissy.
And you're watching
Baggage
Claimed.
Get closer. Okay, so y'all, we are super excited as our Let's Talk Race series comes to an end.
Yes.
We are closing it out with our last video, and we've decided to take the time to reflect on this last video.
Yes.
This series was pretty heavy. I mean, would you say it was?
I would say it was
heavy.
in front of and behind the camera.
Both, right? Very challenging, very challenging. And we ran into a couple of obstacles along the way too. We started off and we were meeting as a panel, and then COVID happened, of course. And so it's just us two closing this thing out.
Yep.
Yeah. So we're gonna hop right into it. Question number 1. Why did we do it? Why did we do it?
Why did we do it?
Why Let's Talk Race? Why?
Because, I mean, the time is now. Who
Now.
said that? The time is now.
I feel like
Great
that was on-
debaters?
Really? Because
I
I was
don't know.
totally thinking WWE right
No.
Are you
The
sure?
time is now. The time is now. Like, when else would we have a Let's Talk Race conversation?
Yeah.
Like, the whole world is watching.
Yeah.
So, hey, let's have the conversation.
Yeah. As we talked about a lot of those things, I think it was like a healing process that we began to go through because there's been so many, and we use this metaphor a lot, but elephants in the room. Like, we've just had elephants kind of in the room with us existing, but
Stepping all
over things, messing up the floors, and we haven't really addressed them. And I think in society today, having conversations about race, that's unknown. Like, that's something you just don't do, especially in different mediums. Like work, you don't talk about race.
Right.
Don't you talk about race. At church, you better not talk about race. And even at home, where you're comfortable, there are sometimes these, I guess, reservations that people may get because you don't want to be on the wrong side of the race conversation.
Yeah.
So in everywhere you go, you're like, wow, there's this elephant, but I can't address it because I just don't know how to navigate this process. And I think we began to start trying to do that. And it started off as like a conversation amongst friends. We were making a couple of videos. I think we had made maybe like 2 or 3 videos at this point, and we were reached out. Well, who reached out to you? I think it was maybe
Rebecca.
Yeah.
Well, both of them.
Rebecca and Caroline. Yeah, reached out to Jordan and just expressed interest in having these conversations, saying that they were willing to be on Baggage Claim and have a conversation like that, which, like, seriously, kudos to them for the willingness to kind of come on board and have those conversations. But I think it was a start for not only us, but them as well in healing, and we hope for you guys as well. So question number 2, what did we gain from this whole process?
You know what?
What did you gain?
I gained a different perspective.
Okay.
I gained a sense of stepping into someone else's world from the other side and seeing why they think the way that they think,
Okay.
what is their foundation, what are their driving motives, things of that sort. So I just got to see like the other person, and it also taught me to dig deeper into my own beliefs and why I believe the things that I believe. Not that they aren't valid, but like, okay, why do you really believe this, or why do you really feel like this? So yeah, that's what I gained from it.
So surprisingly, I think what I gained from this whole process is I regained feeling.
Okay.
Yes. And so there was this numbness, I believe, that had kind of come over me because after dealing with so much, I had, and I'm just going to be open and say it, I kind of felt like there wasn't too much that could be done and too much that would be done, or at least in my lifetime. Like, I felt like I was just running on this treadmill, and every time I ran, I realized that I wasn't going anywhere. I had been feeling like that for so long, and I think I began to kind of regain feeling, and it started by having a conversation and knowing that people were willing to listen, willing to be understanding in that moment, And a conversation about race to me is like, you don't really want to enter those conversations where you know that you may not agree on an answer there, or you know that this one conversation may not solve it. It's hard to be eager to jump into something like that and just be like, golly, I don't know where this is going to go, but I'm going to jump in. Or, golly, we'll probably be having the same conversation 10 years from now, but I'm going to jump in. Or, man, this is really probably going to make me feel some type of way, but I'm still going to jump in. And so just the willingness of people to jump in, it's kind of helped me to talk about some things that I never talked about because I didn't feel safe talking about. So I guess I'm regaining feeling. Yeah, and knowing that it's okay to be in pain and express pain with the emotion that you feel as well. Before, when I've talked about things that have hurt me, I've had to become a robot in order to talk about those things that hurt me. It was like, well, let me get myself together before I have a conversation with other people, because I don't want to be perceived like this. I don't want to be perceived as angry, but I am angry. Like, right. I'm mad. And if anybody is going to be able to, like, I'm really mad, And so if there's anybody out there that is going to be willing to have a conversation and to understand or know me in my heart, despite me being angry, and allow for me a space to be angry, it should be a friend. So question number 3, did we run into any struggles along this journey? You want to go first?
Yes.
Woo. Yeah. And you can be real.
Without bashing anybody, it's not a bashing thing, but just like, you would think that people would be more willing to console the hurt person. But walking into this thing is like, okay, I have my own beliefs, I have my own biases, I have my own thoughts on it. And it doesn't necessarily include you being hurt, And so just dealing with that in a sense.
Yeah.
And, I know people are people, and people sense feelings or whatever like that. I'm not saying that people are bad, but just realizing that your hurt isn't at the forefront, of other people's minds. Therefore, the community's hurt isn't at the forefront sometimes, So just realizing that, not calling out anybody specifically, and it actually isn't to anybody specifically. It's just a group, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
That represents a larger group. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, yes.
Staying along the same lines of what you just said, so I'm reminded of something that I noticed about myself through starting to have these conversations. I try to justify everything that I say.
Oh, yeah, she does.
Yeah. I feel a need to make sure that everything is super clear and concise. Anytime I make a statement, well, let me just let you know exactly what I mean, because I'm not talking about you, specifically you, or it's just systematic racism and, how it pulls. It's not, but it's not you. It's not you. And I feel the need to do that. And, when I was speaking to how I am a lot less numb, or I'm starting to feel again, it just reminds me, it's like, if somebody hits you, and this may be extreme, if somebody hits you on your foot with a hammer, are you going to say, oh, no, but I know it was not you. You didn't mean to hit me
Jordan
in a hammer. Like, even like whether or not, okay, they dropped the hammer. Okay, I know it's not you, and you didn't mean to, but I mean, it hurts. It hurts. So the first thing that you say isn't, yes, ouch. Ouch.
We've been skipping the ouch.
Yes, we have skipped the ouch. Like, there is a time for, like, I'm hurting, ouch. And then there's a time for, hey, but I know you didn't mean to do that. It just hurt,
Yeah.
And so let me just kind of explain.
Yeah, it
how
just
that
makes
felt.
so much sense. And that's kind of what, I guess, the struggle, with people who are hurt in this particular situation is just like, we've been conditioned to skip the ouch.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, but I know you didn't mean it that way, but I'm hurting.
In these conversations, please, and I'm actually jumping the gun with this one because this is my son.
She jumping the gun. Don't listen to her.
Yes. But in those conversations, guys, please allow your friends to feel, and we're just talking because most of these conversations have been friend to friend conversations. We've had a lot of conversations with our white friends, and so allow your friends to feel, allow them to express their pain without tone policing them and refusing, kind of dismissing what it is that that they like, dismissing their pain because of the way that it's said to you. If they say ouch, then hear the ouch. Don't just say, well, I'm just going to wait until after they get the ouch out the way and then we're going to have this conversation.
Right.
Get that ouch out the way and then I'll talk to you. No, like really feel that, feel that in that moment with them. It hurt, okay? Yeah. So there's a lesson in that for the person on the other side as well. So for the listener, there is a lesson inside of that ouch for you too. So don't dismiss the ouch because that's also a part of the process.
Social media has also been a struggle, just seeing the things that people say, and it's not necessarily just my friends, because I kind of limit who comes into my presence, you know what I'm saying? I'm just not accepting everybody. And so my social media was okay, but just seeing like some of the things that were shared and just blatant disrespect sometimes is just like, dang, how long you gonna take this?
Like, what have you seen?
One thing that really, I've been going to look at the comments lately at things. The comments kill.
Ooh,
but one thing that has really gotten on my nerves is like the comparison to like black on black crime.
Okay.
That's really gotten under my skin.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's a conversation for another day.
Yeah. Yeah.
I even had this conversation with my dad. And I had to explain, like my viewpoint on it and whatever, and but yeah.
So why do you think it's so hard to hear people sort of use a fact that there is black on black crime to explain or to justify why maybe police brutality is not necessarily the biggest concern in the black community? Like, why does that bother you? Or is it the fact that there's that comparison?
Yeah, I think that it's not as difficult to talk about. It doesn't place the blame on anybody. Yes, it does. It places the blame on the black community.
Yeah.
And so it's like, the black on black crime conversation is kind of like the all lives matter to me. It's like, okay, but are we going to talk about the root of the issue? Because, if we go to the root of the issue, then black on black crime probably wouldn't be as big of a deal.
I know you are, but what am I?
And
That's
so it's like,
so
are we going to deal with the root of the issue?
Yeah.
And so it's just kind of frustrating,
Yeah. And that's the topic that, we could literally go on for a couple of weeks talking about. It does. Like, it gives off this vibe of like, I know you are, but what am I? Yeah. It's like, okay, of course, yes, it's a fact. Yes, there's black on black crime. Right. But that's not the matter we're talking about right now. And so you're right. When you said all lives matter, it's like, yes, all lives do matter. But what we're talking about right now is black lives. Right. What we're saying is that black lives have been excluded, and therefore, for the statement "all lives matter" to be a fact, we must include the lives of black individuals. Yeah. And so it is definitely a struggle. So we've gotten social media. Social media has been an issue. That's been a struggle. Tone policing. Yeah. Talks about that as a struggle. Any other struggles we've had?
That's it.
You think so?
I think that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've kind of, on the other side, I found challenges with friends throughout this time also.
I told y'all, it's who I allow in my circle. Well, she's a little bit more open,
I have a very diverse circle.
Listen, ain't nobody time for
Just playing. Jordan has a diverse circle too. Somewhat. Do you have a diverse circle?
You know what? Like, not my close circle. Not my close circle.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I don't know if that's good or bad, but I can work on that. Actually, I can work on that. Somebody's busy over here.
CFT meeting in like 5 minutes. That's
Hallelujah, you're worthy to be.
Okay. Sorry. Still recording?
Mm-hmm. 21 minutes.
Don't tell me I ain't recording.
We don't get on time though.
Okay,
This video gonna be like 12 minutes.
Okay, more struggle. Yeah. Okay, so I have actually found challenges with friends, and on both sides, just trying to know how to facilitate a conversation like this. What to say, and there are still, like with me mentioning the numbness that I felt, it's hard to identify certain things that I've been triggered by because I've kind of suppressed it. Because I know you said the word conditioning earlier, and I believe that I am one of the Black people who have been conditioned to just kind of submit to the way that the majority, and I will say the white majority of society, thinks and interacts. And so I've always kind of felt like in order for me to express myself, then I have to express myself in a certain way that is, received well by the majority in order for me to get my point across, or in order for people to want to listen to what I have to say. So I find myself kind of working very hard in order to articulate well, in order to present things or deliver messages in a way that would make people want to listen to me. But one, that's not fair. And number two,
it's not true.
Good. Thank you. Very much so. And so definitely found that to be a challenge. And so in friendships, those conversations, navigating those conversations have been quite the challenge. And then knowing that you may go to the table with your friend to have certain conversations or with a goal in mind, and you may end parting ways and never coming back to that table again. And so it is a risk. It definitely is a risk, even if done in love. There's so much that's tugging both sides in opposite directions. So whether it's family, whether it's the environment in which you grew up, hey, I know that this may be righteous in this moment. Having these conversations may be righteous. Posting on social media may be righteous. I know advocating at a march may be righteous, but this is what I'm giving up in this moment. And so this is something that I'm giving up that, and it may be privilege, or it just may be the fact that my family doesn't agree with this. I'm giving up the support from my family. There's a lot on the line and I can't do this work right now. Hey, that's cool. But that sometimes has us kind of separating from the people that we love. And so I'll say the struggle too have been just grieving the losses of people that I deem myself very close to. So it's certainly a lot of challenges and struggles that have come through moments like this. Yeah, unforeseeable struggles, Yeah. You think you turn on the camera, even for baggage claim, you turn on the camera and you say, we're just going to have conversations, tough conversations.
Listen.
And we're just going to welcome people into this space. And we're going to be vulnerable in sharing the things that are on our heart and the things that we deal with on a daily basis. But wow, there's so much behind that camera.
Y'all want to know what else was a struggle?
What?
Conversation with Chrissy. We have not agreed on a lot of stuff. It's been a struggle.
Oh, please be honest. Please be honest. It has been a struggle. It was a struggle before we started today.
We've been on this camera, and I be wanting to box her. She probably want to box me before we even.
It's just all right, and go. So question number 4, are we satisfied with our past conversations?
I would say that,
and this is a tricky type question because saying are we satisfied with our past conversations, would be a very broad answer. Are you satisfied overall with your experience in customer service? But I think from this question, we'll probably just kind of touch on just parts that were satisfying about it, maybe, and then maybe some things that we would like to see more of in the future through this question.
I guess to answer the question then, I'm satisfied with where things could go. I'm satisfied with where things could go, which means that there have to have been some conversations that have been had for me to even think that.
Absolutely.
So that's my answer to that question.
good.
Now you can answer your part.
Okay.
You can do what you just said.
Okay. So I would say that as of right now, I'm very pleased with the start. Okay. So I'm still growing and learning what these conversations could look like, because and you know what the are supposed to, it's like that's a really tough, you know, that's a tough phrase for me. Or what are they supposed to look like? Because, and you're a 1, so you're a 1 on the Enneagram. So, you know, he likes structure, order, you know, and so there's usually a format for the things that he does. And so, like for me, I'm very free flow. And so there's never really, I'm not used to there being any structure. But when it comes to race-related conversations, that's something that, I'm not gonna lie, even being a person that's not really used to certain structures,
she wants all the structure, y'all. She like, look, we need to know how we're going into it. Why do we even feel this way? Why do we need to tell them? It's a lot. Yeah. Like,
and I'm a 7, so I'm going into my 1 because it stresses me out.
She's stressed out. This is so cool.
Yeah. So I'm definitely I'm pleased with what I'm seeing thus far. As I continue to grow and learn, it's like I'm seeing, like I'm being able to distinguish what the surface looks like versus kind of like breaking into, you know, the middle, or just like cracking open a little bit of the surface. So I can kind of feel and gauge now when that's happening. Yeah. So the last one is not necessarily a question, but this is going to be our personal moment with you, our community. Based on what we've learned over the last couple of weeks, we're just going to share something that is near and dear to us, maybe that might be a little vulnerable. Who knows? It's our personal nugget that we're going to drop from this experience.
Yes.
Are you ready, Jordan? Close up on Jordan, coming in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
So, my suggestion to the Black community would be to unnumb yourselves. Make yourselves feel again. I know of a lot of what we've experienced in the past years or whatever, since we've been kids or however long, you know, we've been kind of conditioned to just brush it off of our shoulders. And so what this moment calls for is us going back to our past and actually recording some of those things that we've experienced and being able to explain them to our white counterparts. It may involve us deep diving into our situations and going back to be specific and letting them know, hey, this is what I felt, this is how I felt when you did this, or this is the way that this makes me feel, or this is the way that your culture makes me feel when they say this, or when they do this, or when they don't appreciate me by doing this. Or it's just a lot of things that we've just become so accustomed to not feeling, and it's going to be very beneficial to us in the conversations to come. So that's my advice to you.
All right, so my nuggets, really quick. 1, to my Black friends out there, to our Black viewers in this community, you do not have to have an explanation for the way that you feel. In every given moment, you don't have to justify why you feel the way you feel. You have a responsibility to feel. And if we're talking about friend-to-friend conversations, then I'd hope that when you interact with your friends, you are open and honest with your friends. I'd hope that that space is created, that you have a safe space to do that in. Just know that you don't have to explain, over-explain the way that you feel in order to make other people comfortable. A true friend is willing to be uncomfortable for you and with you. So, number 2, I would say to my white friends, staying along the same lines of what was just mentioned, it is also very important that you know how your defensiveness is taken in those types of conversations. You as a friend too have a responsibility to be present in that moment. If this is a conversation that you agree to have and you want, if you are speaking to moving forward, I always have to drop that nugget, Netta McKinley. If you're speaking to moving forward, then there's a certain distance that you have to be willing to go as well. And so your distance may look like in a moment when I want to tense up because I feel attacked by something I know I didn't intentionally do. Be willing to still hear the other person out, and be willing to dig a little bit deeper within yourself to explore where you may have experienced and are played a part in the racial issues that are going on. There is not a single person on the planet can say that you have never used privilege before. So do the work. Be willing to go the extra mile. And it is work required. There is a work that must be done for individuals in order for these group conversations to be effective. So be willing to do the self-work. And no, there is no instant gratification for this. There is no trophy at the end of this work. No one's going to put you on a pedestal and say, that person is the person, and congratulations for what you did. But you have to search deep within yourself and determine whether it's worth it. Whether doing the right thing is worth it.
So,
that was heavy.
With that being said, please govern yourselves accordingly. We will see you guys next week. Can't wait to see you.
Yes.
Bye, y'all.
Holla. Subscribe. Please.